The call that I never want anybody to get. So I remember I worked for 2 weeks straight, and all I did was sit at my couch and work on this 6-week project that we were running at the gym. I closed everything off the outside world. I had no contact with anybody outside of the people that I had to contact. I only left my couch from work to go and get groceries, to go to church, to go and coach. But outside of that, I had no outside contact without anybody that wasn't necessary part of the work that I was getting done. Now, I think this is relatable to a lot of you because a lot of us get sucked into projects and deadlines and year ends and all that kind of stuff, and we forget about everything else. Then I was sitting there one day and I got this weird phone call. I don't normally answer my phone, but this was kind of an odd number, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna take 2 minutes just to answer this call because it was such a weird number. And I answered the phone, and it was actually my dad's boss. And my dad's boss go, "Hey, have you seen your dad lately?" And I was like, "No, actually, I've been so busy with work, I haven't really spoken to anybody." He's like, "Well, he didn't show up for his shift this weekend, and it's not like my dad to miss any of his shifts. He's super reliable, he loves his job, he's always there. But he had gone missing." Now, my dad suffers from narcolepsy. So oftentimes he won't sleep for 1, 2, 3 days. And in this case, he actually did not sleep for an entire week. And he was driving down the street and he had actually passed out at the wheel. And because he had passed out at the wheel, he actually smashed into a tree and he had gone through the windshield. So my brother and I put everything down and we went to search for him. And because we weren't on his call list, they didn't know who to call. And so we finally called the hospital, and sure enough, he was there. Now I remember showing up there and I remember seeing my dad, and he was just in such horrible shape. But the good thing was that he was alive. Now I look back at it and I remember those 2 weeks where I shut everything off, where I did not focus on anything but my work. And the thing that I regretted the most if he had passed was just blocking out the outside world and not spending time on the things that matter outside of work. Now, this could happen to you in the case of getting that call. Hopefully you don't. Or it could be getting a call saying something about your health. And that's what I want for everybody to prevent themselves from doing, is getting that call that they don't want to hear because they put their fitness aside. And I get it. We get caught up in our family stuff. We get caught up in our finance stuff with our work. And fitness is something that we kind of say that we're going to start tomorrow. Now, just like me not contacting my dad, a week turned into 2 weeks, which could have turned into a month, which could have turned into a year. And I think a lot of those calls, they go missing. The same thing happens with fitness. A lot of people say, "Hey, I'm going to start in the new year." And then the new year comes about and they get busy. And then they're like, "Okay, I'm going to start next week," but next week turns into next month, and next month turns into next year, and it never happens. And in the meantime, we're not making any changes to our fitness. We're not getting any healthier by doing nothing. And in fact, we're probably getting more unhealthier because we're getting busier. And when we get busy, we get comfortable with the foods that we generally go to that we know aren't great for us. And we think, okay, well, you know, I'm invincible, right? We're invincible until we get old and until we get that call. So what I'm trying to say is I don't want you to potentially make the same mistake that I did, where I just closed out the outside world and I got focused on one thing. We always want to balance out the 4 F's. So family, call your parents, call your kids, call your family, whatever it is, make that call. If you think about them, call them. Finances, we all have to work. I get it. So we got to put in the work, but we also have to know when to shut that work down. Faith, if you believe in something higher than yourself, then always reflect with that faith, and that faith will make you to make that call. And then last is your fitness. We have to make time, and it can't be tomorrow. You have to plug off a little bit each and every single day. We don't have to do everything all at once. All we have to do is focus on that 1%. And that 1% for you might be just moving more. That could be where you're starting, where you're gonna get out and you're gonna go for a walk. Your small goal could be to get 3,000 steps. The other day, I was talking to a woman, I said, "How many steps you got?" It was 3 in the afternoon. She's like, "I got 2,800 steps." And she didn't plan on getting many more steps after that. And I would think that most of us don't move often. So I would suggest that you go get yourself a watch and make sure that you're moving at least 5,000 steps. Now you're hitting that goal, let's bump you up to 8,000 steps. Once you get your body moving, now let's get you into an exercise routine. You can contact us by sending us an email at north@fitclub.fit. You can either mention the 5-day challenge, Or if you're really looking to tackle and make this year your fittest year yet, then mention the belly burn and we'll get you started today.